The shuttle door slid open with a hiss that sounded far too dramatic for a simple arrival, and he immediately felt dozens of alien eyes on him. He stepped out slowly, clutching his small travel bag like a shield. The alien family stood in formation, literally in formation, lined up like they were presenting a military parade instead of welcoming an exchange student. The father figure, taller than the others and wearing a sash that glittered like a disco ball with confidence issues, stepped forward with both arms raised high. "Human! Here is my daughter, as promised! Welcome to the family!" He blinked. Slowly. Very slowly. Because what did one say to a declaration like that? He looked left, then right, as if some other human might step forward to accept a daughter-shaped mystery box, but he was the only one here. The father alien beamed with pride, looking far too pleased with himself. The mother alien patted his arm reassuringly, misinterpreting the human's stunned silence as gratitude. Behind them stood the daughter, shifting from foot to foot with an excitement that made her bioluminescent freckles brighten and dim like a faulty neon sign. He cleared his throat and attempted diplomacy. "I appreciate the warm welcome, but—" He stopped because the daughter took a bold step forward, raising her chin in an exaggerated dramatic pose. She pressed a hand over her chest, inhaled with stage-like intensity, and finally spoke in a voice she clearly thought sounded seductive. "I have been prepared for this moment." He nearly choked on air. She looked at him with such unwavering earnestness that he didn't know whether to laugh, panic, or run. Her species looked vaguely humanoid but with little differences, subtle scales that shimmered like glitter in the air, elongated pupils, and hair that seemed to move slightly on its own when she got emotional. Right now, it quivered like a pack of excited, colorful worms. The father cleared his throat loudly. "In our culture, honored guests receive the greatest treasure of the household. A daughter! A symbol of utmost respect and hospitality. A gift of future connection. A gift." He repeated it mentally. They thought giving him a whole daughter was like giving him a welcome gift basket. "That's very generous," he managed, trying to keep the panic out of his voice. "But humans don't usually, exchange people." The mother gasped softly. "He is modest. How adorable." She elbowed her daughter affectionately. "You see? He already displays the shy courtship temperament." The daughter's freckles glowed brighter. "I accept your modesty," she whispered like she was reciting lines from an overly dramatic TV drama. He took a step back. She took a step closer. He tried another angle. "Maybe I should clarify, back on Earth, we don't give daughters to guests. It's not polite." The father nodded thoughtfully. Humility. A strong quality in mating choices." "Mating, no! That's not what I meant." But it was too late. The daughter gasped like he had just confessed a forbidden love that spanned galaxies. She clasped her hands together and tilted her head with slow-motion intensity, as though wind should have been blowing dramatically through her hair. Sadly, the only thing that moved was a puff of dust kicked up by her foot. "Oh," she murmured breathlessly. "You do not wish to rush. You want a slow burn romance." He felt 20 new panic alarms go off in his brain. "No! I mean yes, wait, no! I mean we're not." The father cut in cheerfully. "Come! Come! We take you inside. Daughter will help you settle in. She has prepared everything." He regretted asking. "Prepared what?" The daughter straightened proudly. "All the necessary items for human courtship rituals. I researched them extensively." He swallowed. "Define extensively." She brightened. "I watched 241 human romance dramas." He blinked. 241? "Yes," she said with glowing enthusiasm. "I have mastered the art of dramatic entrances, emotional confrontations, and accidental physical closeness. I am ready." He felt faint. The family ushered him inside their home, which was beautiful in a strange, alien way, curved walls with soft pulsating light beneath them, floating shelves, furniture that adjusted automatically when he sat down. But he barely noticed any of it, because the daughter stayed pressed so close beside him that their shoulders almost touched. Every time he tried to step slightly away, she followed like a synchronized dance routine. At one point, she lifted a fan. A human-style folding fan. He frowned. "Why do you have that?" "It is how human women hide their blushes," she said seriously. "I practiced this motion for days." She snapped it open dramatically and waved it across her face. Her bioluminescent freckles flared so brightly they looked like fireworks. He stared, speechless, as she posed behind the fan like she expected rose petals to fall from the ceiling. The father clapped proudly. "She is perfect, yes?" The human inhaled slowly. "She's very enthusiastic." The mother sighed dreamily. "Ah, young love," he quickly corrected. "We just met." The daughter leaned closer, whispering, "Love at first sight is common in human romance." He resisted the urge to bang his head against the glowing wall. This was going to be the longest exchange program of his life. The next morning began with confusion, chaos, and something that smelled suspiciously like boiling algae mixed with cinnamon. He woke up to the sound of humming, deep, rhythmic humming that vibrated through the walls. When he sat up, he found the daughter awkwardly crouched beside his bed, her face far too close to his. He yelped. She yelped because he yelped. Then she fell backward and rolled across the floor with the exaggerated dramatic flair of someone who had watched way too many human TV shows. Her hair quivered like startled seaweed. "Good morning," she announced once she recovered, smoothing her tunic and attempting to look elegant. "I have come to perform the first bonding ritual." He sat up straighter, suddenly very afraid. "The first, what?" She clasped her hands together in a pose of unnatural grace. "Shared nourishment. My parents say it is essential for early relational development." He blinked at her. "You mean eating together? Breakfast?" Her eyes sparkled with too much enthusiasm. "Oh no. More intimate than that." Before he could ask what she meant, the parents entered, carrying a massive bowl between them. It steamed ominously. The father placed it on a floating tray and pushed it between the two of them like it was a sacred object. "Eat," he declared proudly. "From same bowl. Very strong bonding." The daughter grabbed a spoon, offering it to him with both hands like it was a 7,000-year-old relic. He took it reluctantly, and she gasped as though this simple act meant everything. Then, without warning, she scooted closer until their knees touched. The bowl hovered inches from their faces. She scooped up a colorful alien mush and lifted the spoon toward his mouth with trembling anticipation. He jerked back. "I can feed myself." The parents exchanged confused glances. The mother whispered loudly, "Maybe humans need encouragement." The father nodded sagely. "Yes. Humans enjoy public displays of nurturing." Before the human could protest again, the daughter cupped her hands around his cheeks. Her palms were warm, slightly textured, and leaned in with a romantic drama stare that lasted far too long. He froze, spoon halfway between them. "Say she breathed. He sputtered. No, I can, just give me the spoon." She withdrew slightly, looking crushed. "Did I fail the first ritual?" The parents gasped dramatically. The human felt horrible. No, you didn't fail," he said quickly, trying not to cause an interspecies diplomatic meltdown. "I'm just not used to being fed." The daughter perked up immediately. "Ah, you are shy. It is cute," he sighed. He was beginning to understand that everything he said would somehow turn into a compliment in their minds. After a few painful minutes of him awkwardly eating on his own while she stared at him with starry-eyed intensity, they moved on to ritual number 2. The father handed him a folded hollow sheet. "We have prepared the sleeping quarters for optimal bonding." He unfolded it, expecting a map. What he found instead was a diagram of 2 rooms with an enormous opening between them, no door, no divider, just one big shared space. He squinted at the glowing blueprint. "So, I have a room connected to her room?" The father nodded. "Proximity courtship. A must." The mother wrung her hands happily. You will hear each other breathing while you rest. Very intimate. His soul attempted to leave his body. Humans typically prefer separate rooms. The daughter gasped, again, her freckles flashing like tiny fireworks. You mean, forbidden lovers separated by walls? She pressed her palms to her cheeks. So romantic. No. That's not, ugh, never mind. She grabbed his wrist suddenly. Her hand was warm and slightly rough from whatever alien skincare regimen she followed. He nearly jumped, but she dragged him down the curved hallway before he could protest. Her room looked exactly like a set from a human romance show. Soft lighting, curtains fluttering from artificial breezes, a bed covered in heart-shaped pillows, actual heart shapes, but alien hearts, so they were uneven and lopsided. She pointed proudly. I studied Earth media and recreated the perfect environment for your comfort. See? Decorative pillows you will throw off the bed angrily every night for dramatic effect. He stared at the mess of pillows. That's weirdly accurate. And look! She pressed a button and a soft mist filled the space. Artificial rain! For emotional scenes. He coughed, waving the humidity away. Why would you need rain indoors? She shrugged earnestly. Humans kiss in rain. Or confess feelings. Or cry dramatically. I prepared for all scenarios. He had no idea whether to laugh or cry. Then came the moment she attempted what she described as the accidental fall. She stepped backward, stuck one foot out theatrically, pretended to trip, and hurled herself toward him like a missile. He yelped and stumbled backward, catching her awkwardly before they both dropped onto the nearest pile of hard pillows. Her hair stiffened in excitement, quills poking him in the face. She whispered breathlessly. This is where you say, "Are you okay?" He groaned. I'm being stabbed by your hair. She froze, mortified. Oh no! My quill reflex activated! This is the opposite of romantic! She scrambled away, fanning her hair back down, apologizing profusely while he pulled a stray quill from his collar. He took a deep breath. Listen. I need to explain something important. She nodded seriously, sitting cross-legged like a student. Her eyes were wide, attentive, ready to absorb every word. Humans have boundaries. And personal space. And steps. Courtship is slow. Very slow. We don't rush. We communicate, we build trust, we... She gasped, clutching her chest again. Ah. A secret love. A forbidden pace. I understand. We must keep our connection hidden from my parents. He buried his face in his hands. No. That's not what I said. But it didn't matter, because the parents, standing right outside the room, heard only the last part and burst into applause. The father boomed proudly. They are already whispering secrets. Bonding successful. The mother wiped a tear. So beautiful. He groaned quietly. She beamed at him. This exchange program was spiraling out of control, and he could feel it had only just begun. Hours later, after escaping several more bonding rituals, and convincing the parents he did not need a massage performed by 6 alien relatives, he finally managed to slip outside. The alien home's courtyard was peaceful in a strange, otherworldly way. Bioluminescent plants swayed gently in the air without any visible breeze, glowing soft blues and greens that made the whole space feel dreamlike. He leaned against a smooth stone pillar, exhaling deeply, trying to steady himself after the overwhelming chaos of the day. He didn't hear her approach at first. Her footsteps were surprisingly quiet for someone whose enthusiasm usually echoed through entire rooms. He only noticed her when the soft glow of her freckles lit up the corner of his vision. She stood a few feet away, wringing her hands together, her bravado gone. No dramatic pose, no swooning, no rehearsed lines, just a girl who suddenly looked unsure. I'm sorry, she said quietly, voice smaller than he had ever heard it. He blinked, straightening. For what? She took a deep breath, eyes dropping to the ground. For overwhelming you. For misunderstanding everything. For being embarrassing. She winced as she said it, shoulders hunching. I tried too hard. I wanted to get it right. He softened immediately. The dramatic alien girl who had practically thrown herself at him all day now looked fragile, uncertain, like she expected him to reject her entirely. He took a slow step closer. You don't need to apologize, he said gently. None of this is your fault. It's just cultural differences. She shook her head. No. I made it worse. I made everything worse. She lifted her gaze, her pupils widening. I thought I understood humans. I studied so much. I thought I knew how to act around you. His brows rose. Studied? You mean the romance dramas? She let out a tiny groan of embarrassment, and covered her glowing freckles with her hands. They were supposed to teach me everything humans find romantic. But now I think they taught me everything humans find ridiculous instead. A small laugh escaped him before he could stop it. She peeked through her fingers, mortified. He held up his hands in surrender. I'm not laughing at you, he said quickly. Just the situation. I didn't realize you watched that many shows. I watched them all, she admitted dramatically, dropping her hands. Every series available. Every movie with kissing and dramatic rain and forbidden relationships and slow-motion staring. I studied them carefully. He folded his arms, smiling despite himself. Why? She hesitated, really hesitated, then walked closer, each step slower than the last. She didn't stop until she stood only a few inches away. He could feel the warmth of her skin, see the faint shimmer of her scales, watch the flicker of her freckles. Because, she whispered, I wanted to understand your kind. I wanted to make you feel welcomed. I wanted to make you happy. He blinked. Happy? She nodded. Humans express affection differently than us. My people don't do hugs or hand-holding. We don't gaze into each other's eyes. We don't trip into someone's arms or share umbrellas in the rain. Her voice softened. But humans do those things because they care. Because they want to be close. Because it means something. She looked away. I wanted to try. Even if I didn't understand it perfectly. His chest tightened unexpectedly. He hadn't expected sincerity from her. She'd been all dramatics and exaggerated gestures until now. But this version of her, softer and real, was kind of beautiful. He took a breath. You don't have to perform a role. You can just be yourself. She looked up, hopeful. Is that enough for a human? He nodded. More than enough. Trust me. She exhaled, a shaky, relieved sound, and sat down on a smooth rock. He joined her, leaving enough space to be polite, but not so far that she thought he was uncomfortable. The air shimmered gently around them, the glowing plants casting soft reflections across her face. I should tell you something, he said quietly. She blinked, attentive. What is it? Humans take things slow. Relationships, I mean. We don't start with big gestures or intense closeness. We start with simple things. Conversations. Getting to know each other. She nodded patiently. And what do humans do then? He smiled a little. They listen. They share. They laugh. They build trust. It's not dramatic like in the shows. She tilted her head. No music swelling in the background? He chuckled. Not usually. She let out a small, sheepish laugh. I thought humans loved melodrama. All your shows are full of it. He shrugged. Shows exaggerate. Real romance is quieter. She sat with that for a moment, then murmured, I like quiet. He looked at her, surprised. She usually radiated the energy of a dozen overexcited directors. But now she seemed calm, peaceful, breathing in the soft night air. The quills in her hair lay flat, shimmering faintly. Her freckles pulsed slowly like heartbeat lights. Tell me something human, she said finally. Something true. Not from your dramas. He considered it. Okay, he said after a moment. Humans value consent. We value choice. We want to feel wanted, but not pressured. And we don't want anyone forced on us. Not even offered as a gift. Her face tightened with guilt. My parents didn't understand. They thought it was an honor. I know, he said softly. And I don't blame them. But I needed you to hear this from me. She nodded slowly. Thank you for telling me. He hesitated, just a moment, then lightly touched her hand. Not a grab, not a pull. Just a touch. Just a gentle human gesture meant to communicate reassurance without words. She inhaled sharply, her freckles exploding in light, hair shimmering in surprise. But instead of flinging herself into a dramatic pose, she simply looked down at their touching hands with awe. This, she whispered, is human affection? He nodded. A small part of it. She grinned, softly, genuinely, and whispered, I like this way better. And for the first time since arriving, he believed this whole exchange program might not end in total disaster. Because for the first time, she wasn't performing. She was just being herself. Word spread through the house faster than he thought possible. One moment he and the daughter were sharing a quiet, genuinely sweet moment in the glowing courtyard, and the next the father burst through the nearest doorway, practically vibrating with excitement. The mother followed right behind him, carrying an armful of decorative fabrics and glittering ribbons. It is time! The father boomed. He jumped so hard he nearly fell off the stone. The daughter leaped to her feet, startled back into her usual flustered mode. Time for what? He asked warily, already afraid of the answer. The mother answered by throwing a sparkly sash over his shoulders. For the final bonding ceremony, of course! We knew it would happen tonight. Everything is prepared. He froze, staring down at the sash like it was a bomb about to explode. Final bonding ceremony? The father nodded proudly. Yes. The moment when two lovers announce their commitment before the entire clan. You will exchange vows, symbols, and future planning documentation. The daughter's freckles flickered violently. Mother, father, wait, this is too fast. The mother laughed lightly. Nonsense, dear. He touched your hand. That is practically a marriage proposal in human culture, yes? He slapped a palm to his forehead. No! That was not a proposal! That was reassurance! But the parents weren't listening. They were already sweeping around the courtyard, adjusting the glowing plants to form a decorative heart shape. The father dragged over a stand covered in crystals while the mother began humming a ceremonial song. The daughter stood frozen, her hair quivering in panic. We have to stop them, she whispered urgently. We really do, he agreed, standing up. Like right now. But the family was unstoppable. Relatives began arriving from other rooms of the house. Tall aliens, short ones, ones with extra limbs, all chattering excitedly about the bonding. Someone set up a long table covered in shimmering fruit. Someone else started passing out glowing lanterns. It was turning into a festival before he could blink. The daughter tugged at his sleeve, clearly torn between excitement and worry. I didn't want it to happen like this, she admitted quietly. I mean, I do want something with you. Maybe. If you want it. But not like this. Not because of some tradition. He looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the worry in her eyes. The dramatic girl who had performed for him all day was gone again, replaced by someone vulnerable and hopeful and scared of forcing him into anything. He took a steadying breath. Don't worry. I'll handle it. She blinked. You will? He nodded. Yeah. I'm not hiding behind curtains while your entire family plans a wedding I didn't agree to. She laughed shakily. Oh good. I was worried you might run away. Believe me, he said. I've considered it. She snorted, and the sound was so genuine and unpolished that it made him smile automatically. He gave her hand a gentle squeeze, not romantic, not binding, just supportive, and marched straight toward the center of the courtyard. The relatives quieted down. The father clapped his hands loudly. Ah! The human steps forward to announce their union. Nope! He shouted before anyone could begin chanting. Not at all. Absolutely not. Gasps echoed around the courtyard. He raised both hands. Listen, your daughter is great. Really great. And I've enjoyed getting to know her. But I am not here to be gifted a partner. Or forced into something I don't understand. That's not how humans work. The mother's eyes widened in confusion. But we thought this was how humans show affection. He shook his head gently. Humans show affection by choosing someone. Not being handed someone. And your daughter deserves a choice too. She deserves to be wanted for who she is, not because of a tradition or misunderstanding. The daughter's breath hitched. The father frowned thoughtfully. So you do not accept the daughter gift? He inhaled. No. I don't accept her as a gift. The daughter's shoulders slumped, just for a split second, until he continued. But I do like her. A lot. And I want to get to know her. Properly. As equals. Silence. Then the father gasped dramatically, exactly like his daughter always did. He defends her autonomy. The mother clutched her chest. This is the most romantic thing I have ever witnessed. The entire family burst into applause. The daughter stared at him like he had just lifted the moon into the sky with his bare hands. Her freckles glowed softer than usual, like she was holding back tears. She slowly approached him, her steps quiet and careful, as though she were afraid the moment might shatter if she moved too fast. You said you like me? She whispered. He nodded. Yes. I do. She breathed out with trembling relief, then leaned closer. Not because of the shows. Not because of the rituals. Just because, he confirmed softly. Her hair lay flat and calm, glowing faintly. She stepped forward close enough that he could feel her warmth again. She held out her hand. Then, could we start a human-style slow courtship? He smiled. I'd like that. She took his hand carefully, fitting her fingers between his like she'd practiced in her mind 100 times. But this time it wasn't awkward or dramatic. It was real. The family cheered again, misunderstanding entirely. The father announced loudly. They have chosen the slow courtship. Prepare the multi-year bonding schedule. The mother waved a binder the size of a small planet. I already have charts. He groaned. She laughed. And before the parents could drag them into another ceremonial disaster, she squeezed his hand tightly and pulled him away, running down the hallway with a grin that was far too bright to hide. Come on, she cried happily. Let's escape before they plan our grandchildren. He followed her, laughing breathlessly as they disappeared into the glowing corridors. Two idiots running from a family that loved too hard, too fast, but meant well. And for the first time since he arrived, it didn't feel like a disaster. It felt like something beginning.